Now, if evolution is all about passing your genes on to future generations, or at least if that's a major component of it, reproduction is very central. So understanding patterns of human and primate reproduction is an important background piece of knowledge that we need before we can move into the fossil record. Now, there are a number of characteristic things about humans and primates that they share in terms of reproductive strategies. Again, humans and primates tend to devote their energies towards single births. They don't have litters of offspring like dogs or cats. They tend to devote energies towards single infants. Corresponding to that, there's differential amounts of investment in those offspring. At a basic level, we can think of female investment as generally being quite a bit larger than male investment when it comes to primates. This has to do with the realities of pregnancy being a very energetically expensive thing, and also the long period of time in which offspring are born dependent on their mothers for food, in the form of nursing and breast milk. This is an even larger energetic component than the actual pregnancy in many cases, including in humans. It takes more energy to nurse a child for a year and a half or 2 years than it does to actually bring a pregnancy to term across 9 months for humans. So females in general tend to invest much more heavily in terms of energetic resources in offspring than males. Primates differ across how much male parental investment there is. One of the distinguishing factors of humans is we tend to have relatively more male paternal investment than do many species of primates. Now, in addition to thinking about this differential investment in offspring, and again, this differential investment corresponds with different male and female reproductive strategies. Given the different costs associated with reproduction, you would expect males and females to engage in different kinds of behaviors. But oftentimes these behaviors are also correlated with the kind of social structures in which we find primates. For example, many primates, if we think of a group of primates, exist in structures where there might be a single male individual and multiple female individuals. In this kind of structure, that male may be the only male that's really in active reproductive competition for these females. This, for example, is what we see in gorillas. In this context, you might expect a certain kinds of reproductive behaviors to develop. In contrast, we might imagine a group where there are multiple males and multiple females as well. This, for example, is what we observe in chimpanzees, multi-male, multi-female groups. Now, the behaviors within females and the behaviors within males in these groups might vary, but again, under these circumstances, we might expect to find a different set of reproductive behaviors emerging. Given the different interests of males and females, the different kind of competition that might exist between males and females, and the different kind of strategies males and females might employ as it relates to reproduction. Now, we might also, in fact, have a case where we have multiple males but just a single reproductive female. This is, in fact, something that we see in marmosets, but it's also something that we observe in a few other primates as well. In this case, again, you might expect different strategies to emerge in terms of female reproductive practices as well as male reproductive practices. If we look across the breadth of humanity, we actually find that humans have traditionally, over time, engaged in any and all of these different kinds of reproductive strategies. Single male, multi-female, single female, multi-male, multi-male, multi-female. Now, we tend to think of humans as being closer to monogamous than many other primates, in the sense that we tend to have single offspring births that we invest heavily in with both male and female investment. But the reality is humans are quite generalized in terms of both the reproductive strategies that they put into practice and their capability towards different reproductive strategies. So in thinking about human reproduction, one of the things we have to figure out are these differences in terms of what kind of strategies they employ, in what kind of context, and what are the significance of those strategies. And again, I'll point to the fact that there are a few other anatomical differences about humans that come into play here. So again, the fact that females lack a visible estrus is a reproductive component that's important for thinking about the development of human reproductive strategies. In general, though, reproduction is critical to our understanding of how evolution works, and involves actions by both males and females, the relationship between them, as well as the relationship of females to other females and males to other males. So it's important to think about these components when we think about the behavior and the evolution of behavioral practices within humans.